know you love that girl. I said, I do love her. I did. But what they didn't know was I was trying to build up my credit score. And I'm laughing, but I'm telling you the truth, though. My wife and I, we talked about all kinds of stuff. And one of the things that we talked about that we didn't want to marry each other, amen, to be broke, and amen, to be struggling, amen. You can struggle. What the old saying says, you can do bad by yourself. Amen. When I marry you, my credit score don't supposed to go down. It's supposed to go up. I guess this is not the night I'm supposed to be talking about this, because we're supposed to be easy tonight. Amen. But the first thing we want to talk about tonight, and this is something that I, amen, get pleasure out of talking about, is emotional fulfillment. Emotional fulfillment. Now again, this is an engaging class. This is, amen, an engaging conference where we do discussion, answer, amen, feedback type deal. Somebody, real quickly, just off the top of your head, if you could throw us a definition of emotional fulfillment. Anybody, just what is emotional fulfillment to you or to your spouse? Anybody? Any volunteers? Amen. Nobody want to take a stab at it? Yes, Brother Kevin.
Pastor, I would say emotional fulfillment is when you're able to stimulate your partner other than their physical needs, just meeting their emotional needs, such as like their feelings and their needs, and sensitivity and different things of that nature, when they need something more than this, that physical presence, that mental presence that gives them that emotional feedback that they need when they're going through something.
Right. Again, I like to think about the emotional or the stimulation other than physical. Oftentimes when I talk to, in particularly our younger couples, do some teenage marriage sessions and stuff like that. In particular, I oftentimes try to express to them that marriage is so much more than the physical. Man, boy, this is going to be a long class, because y'all really don't want to talk to me tonight. If you say something, that don't mean everybody, we know we talking about you. One of the things I often tell young people, marriage is so much more than just physical. And of course, we know that the sexual relations is expected and all that. But, hey, man, you're going to be married for the rest of your life. You got time to do all of that. But, hey, man, what about these bills over here? What about how conversation and when I come home and I've had a long day, amen, I just don't want to jump in the bed. I want you to stimulate my mind. Amen, somebody. Amen. Man, y'all going to have to help me out tonight, because y'all really looking at me like I'm all by myself. Amen, like y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Amen. But we'll be fine, though. Emotional needs. For those of you who have your pens, here's a working definition that's going to kind of stay with us over the next 2 nights as we deal with emotional and what emotional needs can be defined as. Emotional needs can be defined as those needs that, when fulfilled, provides happiness, security, and satisfaction. Emotional needs can be defined as those needs that, when fulfilled, they provide happiness, security, and satisfaction. If you look at the theological perspective of emotionalism, God created us so that our emotional needs can be fulfilled by our relationships. We were created to be within relationships. Amen. That's why we go back to the book of Genesis, chapters 1 through 3, and even chapter number 7, chapter 4. You can understand that the whole reason why God gave Adam Eve is for companionship. Amen. The Bible tells us that Adam, amen, was all by himself. Amen. And God said, what is it, Adam? It's not good for you to be by yourself. Amen. I'm going to create you a companion, a woman, someone that can fulfill those needs that you have. Going so much more than the sexual needs, going more than the physical. Well, amen, more so, amen, the emotional, somebody to talk to. Can you imagine, amen, Adam walking through the garden by himself with nobody to talk to? Amen. Some of us can identify with that, amen, being in relationship, and some of us may have communication problems, and we can admit that sometimes, amen, it is hard for you to be in a house living with somebody who you can't talk to. Amen, somebody. Amen. When you can't hold a decent conversation with, where you're on another level and they're somewhere else, and your priorities are all out of whack, and y'all are not on the same page, and you're living more so like roommates more than spouses and in relationships. And so, amen, we're going to talk about, amen, some of the emotional needs, amen, in both men and women. Amen. When we talk about the women's side of the house, it's going to be very interesting. Amen. It's going to be even more so interesting. Amen. When we get to talk about the men. With that being said, here are 4 focal points of emotional needs. I was reading this book by this guy by the name of Dr. Todd Bynum. Dr. Todd Bynum. There's a book called His Needs and Her Needs. If you ever get a chance to get your hands on this book, it's an excellent book. I would encourage every married couple to get your hands on it. His Needs and Her Needs. And basically, what Dr. Todd Bynum was talking about, he was using different illustrations. His whole premise of the book was that what has to be understood, and I think a lot of marriages sometimes misunderstand this, a lot of times what men's emotional needs are somewhat different than what women's emotional needs are. And that's okay. It's all right for that to take place as long as the couple understands that. But when there's no understanding of that, then it creates conflict and not being on the same page. Amen. And so what has to happen, first of all, we have to understand that women are more emotional. On the average, women are more emotional than men are. Amen. I'm waiting for y'all to say amen or something. Amen. They are more emotional. Amen. And there's exceptions to the rules. Amen. There are some men that are more, it's flip-sided. Some men are more emotional than the women are. But on the average, for the most part, there are more women that are more emotional than men. And so what has to happen for us as men, what we have to do is we have to tap into that emotional side, because for a lot of men, it's hard work for us to be emotional. We always want to be the hard rock, the bridge, the support tower, the Samson, the Hulk, and all that kind of stuff. Well, there comes a time, I've learned this from my wife, there comes a time that my wife wants me to be the Hulk. And I'll be the Hulk, sister, right? I'll be the Hulk at times. I'll rip my shirt off at times, And then there's sometimes she wants me to be the teddy bear, lay in her arms, right? The sensitive, amen, melt in her arms type deal. And in the beginning, I'm from Alabama. We don't play like that in Alabama. We don't play like that. We play like that. But I have learned, amen, as a man and especially as a father, and as a soulmate to my wife, I've learned how to tap into that emotional side that I know that she is more emotional than I am. And so I'm yet learning every day. I mean, I ain't no punk by no means. Don't get it twisted now. I ain't no punk by no means. But amen. But we have to, amen, learn how to give and take with some of those emotions. Focal points of emotional needs. We all have a need. We talk about this for emotional fulfillment. That is one of the primary purposes of a marriage. That's why I got married, so you can help fulfill my emotional needs. We didn't get in this marriage or this relationship for me to feel like I'm doing everything by myself. I got to cry by myself. I got to take care of the kids by myself. I got to pay the bills by myself. I got to, make all the money. I got to do. We got into this, amen, because there was some emotional need that God has intrinsically put in all of us. And amen, and you as a woman, you as a wife, you as a husband, your job is to help meet those emotional needs. In that book, Dr. Todd Bynum's book, he uses a illustration, and he refers to it, Brother Chase, as an emotional tank. That was one of the most eye-appealing things, and when I read this the book by Dr. Bynum, that I thought about. And he talks about the fact that, and here's one of the notes that we're talking about, everybody, whether you're hard, whether you're a hope, whether you're a woman, whether you're a man, everybody has an emotional tank. Everybody has an emotional tank. And point number 2, according to this book, one of the keys to staying in love and building and maintaining a successful marriage is making sure that your spouse's emotional tank stays full. Amen, somebody. Listen at this. Marital love, or the passion that we have for each other, marital love burns brightly or brighter when our emotional tanks are full with fuel. In other words, when I am satisfied emotionally, when I am connected with my spouse, how we are supposed to be connected, and our tanks are full, everything seems to be peaches and cream, and everything is everything. Amen. All the dogs are barking, the white picket fence is more whiter. Amen. The food is better, the money is great, everything, when the emotional tanks are full. But, going to point number 3, a lot of marital problems and marital unhappiness can be traced to the fact that when our emotional tank begins to become depleted, when it begins to become empty, or when it begins to get half full, or when there's no deposits in this emotional tank that we're talking about, it causes problems in the relationship. Amen. Amen, somebody. I found out, amen, with me and my wife, if I don't pay enough attention to her, amen, as I should, because I know my wife is an emotional person, and one of the things, she does not ask for much, Deacon Doggett, my wife does not ask for much, but one of the things that she asks of me is just my attention. When we get home, just my attention. When we're, by ourselves, because we do so much, as pastor and first lady, we're always talking to people, always counseling, always going, always preaching, always doing something. And so one of our greatest joys in our relationship is just our attention to each other. Just being home with each other, just, watching TV with each other, and just having each other's attention. Now, I can tell when I'm not giving my wife giving her enough attention, because things in the house, it don't do what it needs to do. Amen. The eggs are a little runny. The chicken ain't always fried. It ain't bad, but it ain't fried all the way. Deacon Wooten like how it needs to be when there's not enough attention. And my clothes, there's not enough creases in my pants, all that kind of stuff. But when there is attention, amen, I can count on my pants being pressed, I can count on my shirts being starched, and all that kind of thing. But the point of what I'm trying to get you to see is, everybody has an emotional tank, and when there's a depletion in our emotional tank, then that begins to cause problems in our relationships. Now, here's what I want to do now. This is a great part. What are our emotions? What are the emotional tanks? Amen. And we want to identify now the 5 basic emotional needs of a woman / i.e. wife, and the 5 basic emotional needs of a man. And I'm telling you, these are going to be good, they're going to be funny, but they're going to be true as well. Do y'all have y'all pens? Do y'all have them? The first part that we want to kind of jump into, amen, the women's side of the house, amen, as we understand that women are more affectionate than we as